It's Pyro Radio, it's Monday night, me, Jay Fresh, live in the place for the show we call Jay Fresh and Friends. But you know, it's not just about me, it's about musicians, producers and artists doing the most within the world of hip-hop and grime. Now, on the phone line today, I've got a real legend of UK music. We've got BLAK TWANG on the phone. What's happening, man?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. What's popping over there?
We're in a good place, man. I mean, normally I love doing my interviews face to face. So, like, this is mad. I can't even see you. Describe your surroundings. Where are you right now?
I'm somewhere in South London, deep South London, in my car. Just parked up, basically. It's taking its toll.
Oh,
nothing special, really and truly. It's a bit grimy around here, but it's all good.
Likewise, I'm looking out the window and thinking, you know what, British summertime. This is what we're dealing with right now. It's not good, man.
Well, we can't complain. It's been a long ass summer, so
exactly. Now, for you, I was in college. And I went into a record shop called HMV. They used to exist. I think there's still a few around now. This was in Bournemouth. Yeah. And I went in.
Oh, wow.
And I bought not one, but I bought 2 copies of a track featuring Estelle called Trickster.
Ooh. Okay, yep.
That is
early noise.
Exactly. That was my kind of earliest exposure to you as a young guy in college, university, getting involved in kind of the whole UK scene and hip hop and garage and stuff like that. So when I say to you that 24 years since Network Southeast, how does that feel?
Yeah, honestly, for me, it feels incredible. I feel blessed. I was about to say you actually missed out on 2 albums before experiencing Trickster.
I was late. I was late.
Better late than never. Yeah, better late than never. Nah, but really, I feel kind of cool, you know, because obviously for me, it shows the mark of a real artist. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm a real, what you call an artist, in the sense that I don't really just do it because it's something cool to do. It's because I do it because it's something I'm passionate about. It's because it's something I've got to express. And the fact that I'm still carrying on 24 years later says a lot about what I'm doing. And the fact is, you know, it's not going to stop till I stop breathing, kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm in it for the long haul, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very similar tone. I interviewed General Levy recently, and obviously we're saying to him, man, like, it's been quarter of a century since, you know, that big record. Wow. So just to make everyone feel old. So when we talk about longevity in the industry, in the game, you know, was it within you that you thought, you know what, I'm always going to be doing this music thing in some way, shape or form? Or is it something that's just naturally taken on and now it's a case of this just won't stop?
Yeah, you know what's really mad about that whole thing? Like, when I was at school and college and whatever, I was just a big fan of music, but I was also a big fan of sport. So it was either me doing sports or me just listening to music. I never for 1 second thought I'm going to be making music, because I never ever had that sort of desire necessarily to be like, yep, I'm going to be making music, I'm going to be singing, I'm going to be writing songs, I'm going to be making beats and all that. I had none of that was in my thoughts at all. It wasn't until I started going to school and in the common room, people were like chatting on the little like sound system or the tape deck or whatever, like chatting ragga, as we used to call it back then, like in the late 80s, early 90s, chatting ragga. And I used to rap because I was into like, you know, NWA and Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One and all these, and Rakim, and I used to literally like learn their raps, and then I come to school and rap their lyrics. And then people are like, oh yeah, rap. They used to call me Rapper T back then. And you know, fast forward like about probably 4 or 5 years later, I started actually listening to people properly and like really getting into it. I started hearing like London Posse and MCD and Demon Boys and all these rappers, and I thought, yeah, man, this how you know what I mean? I really enjoy it, and I started writing my own raps in my own way, like my own accent, my own slang and whatever. And that's really how it came about. So it wasn't something that I really thought I was going to be doing. However, as you said, it came naturally to me. So it came naturally. People said, your voice is really good. You got a great voice. You got amazing presence. And because privately, I'm actually quite a very reserved person. I'm not really like overly flamboyant. I'm like Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think Bruce Wayne is the character that you're gonna see normally, and then I explode on my record or on stage. So you know, that's how it came to me. So I guess it's something that's natural. It's innate, basically. It's in me like that. So it's one of them ones.
Because especially when artists such as yourself, who've, you know, transcended like decades, and that's, again, that's not to make anyone feel old at all, myself included in that. It's just the fact it's that staying power and being relevant, and kind of, as a musician, I feel a lot of people, maybe people nowadays at the start of their journey, they're unsure of their lane. They're unsure of their musicality, and they're following what's hot. Oh, that's popping, I'll be in that sound. Or, oh, that's just flying, I'll jump over there. And it's like, it doesn't really work. So for someone like yourself, like I said, who's been like a mainstay, especially within, you know, UK hip-hop and everything around that, what do you think is the biggest change, or some of the biggest changes that you've seen musically kind of throughout your journey?
What's the biggest change I've seen musically? Well, things have changed as time's gone by, as you're aware. The format of selling music, or even not even selling music, forget that statement. The format of actually releasing music, putting out music, has changed a lot. Back in the day, obviously, it used to be, when we first came on the scene in the late 90s and throughout the 2000s, it was all about getting your records to the radio stations and your videos onto the various like different stations and that, you know. But now there's so many different outlets, like all the social media platforms, all the your Spotify's and iTunes and all that stuff. So that's different as far as how you release the music. And also the soundscape's kind of changing. Everyone's it's evolving in many different ways. Hip hop's giving birth to so many different children in the guise of, whether it's grime, whether it's trap, whether it's drill, whether it's whatever you want to call it. And for me, it's, you know, there's good and bad in everything. So, you know, I'm enjoying it, basically.
Yeah, it's good to hear, man. And also for someone who's experienced so much within your musical journey as well, what is the best piece of advice you've been given along the way?
It's been such a long journey. Best piece of advice I think I've had is probably just believe in yourself, man. Like, believe in yourself and be original. That's really it. Other than that, it's believe in yourself, trust in yourself, have faith in yourself, and back yourself. Those are the best piece of advice that I would actually offer to anyone coming up now. But that's kind of a lot of stuff that's been told to me along the way as well over the years from different people that I've spoken to. And yeah, just try and be as original and stand out from the rest of the crowd as much as you can.
Yeah, man, that's some timeless advice right there. 100%. I've heard that myself, and when people like yourself is saying that back as well, it really carries value, you know. Now, this year's obviously been just crazy in every way, shape and form. I want to ask you what your fondest memory of Ty is.
Oh, man. My fondest memory of Ty... My God. Probably him on stage, really. It has to be my fondest memory of Ty. In fact, the whole tour that we did last year, the Kingdom tour that we did last year, was a bit of an eye-opener for me. I've known Ty for years, like I'm talking decades, you know what I mean? And last year was probably the first time I really had a true understanding of who the man was. And my fondest memory of him was probably... you know, just getting on stage, or me being on stage, and they will literally just come on stage because they didn't feel like the crowd were really giving it what it's supposed to be giving, like the energy back and stuff, and he just stopped the record and pull it back. He had a habit of doing that a lot.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool. Yeah, he literally would, like during your set, he would walk onto the stage and pull up the record, like wherever I've been, whether it's me performing at Jazz Cafe or whether it was on the tour or whatever, he would just basically say, do you guys realize what you're watching? Do you guys realize what you're witnessing? You got to show a lot more love and energy for it. You know, it was amazing, like amazingly supportive, and if he was in your corner, he was in your corner 100%. So that was my fondest memory of Ty, as well as the fact that when he's performing, he just did the most quirky things on stage, like the way he interacted with the audience and just got involved, and he'd jump off from the stage and get right in the middle of the crowd and be like, yo, I'm not like your regular hip hop dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm here. You know what I mean? We're like on a one-to-one, face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball type situation. And yeah, that was Kai, man. He was just a different kind of guy.
Different energy. And that's the thing that really stands the test of time as well. I think when you've been around and watched a lot of stage shows and like yourselves performed a lot as well, you know how to control that crowd. Like if the energy isn't right, like you said, Ty would step on, pull up the track and be like, no, let's reset the energy right now. Let's really explain what's going on. And that kind of stagecraft is so powerful, man. So powerful.
Yeah, man. And that comes from really like all the schooling we had from my open days in Borderline or Subterranean or whatever, like wherever we went back in the days, whether it was even Muslims, maybe Kung Fu, I don't even know, but there were different events that a lot of MCs got to really hone their skills, if you know what I mean, as far as interacting with the crowd and have a presence on stage and mic control and all of that stuff, and make people know that actually when you're on stage, this is your office, you know what I mean, and you're in control of what goes on, and you know what I mean, you let people know what you want from them and what you're ready to give them in return for that same energy. So you know, that came from all of that stuff, and just being a South Londoner, knowing that you had to be assertive and you can't be up there on stage and be timid. You have to go for it.
No way. No, but that's
it's a line then.
But that's an interesting point, because especially in recent years, when within the industry there is that trend now that an artist who maybe has never performed before, who maybe has just released a track almost as a bit of fun, and it's just become a viral record, and then suddenly they're on huge stages with huge production, and they haven't had that grounding.
Not at all. And we've seen it recently. Like I'm not even going to sort of bait up the artist too much, but I've seen a couple of like big hits, like you said, like #1 for weeks and weeks, and everyone's singing this tune just because it's been big online or over social media, and then you put them in front of like a crowd of, even if it's 50,000 people, or even, let's not even go 50,000, that's 10,000 people, and they're flopping hard, like they can't even replicate it hard. And as well as the fact that everyone's very much into this whole auto-tune sounding thing now, so the artist never actually sounds like that on stage unless they bring that same auto-tune software on stage with them to actually replicate or recreate that same sound. So more often than not, you're hearing the record and thinking, "Bruh, that don't sound nothing like the record."
Is that even the same guy?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of been a bit of a mad one. But you know, for every one of those, you probably got another 5 that are actually very decent, and you know, they're representing and doing the right thing. So it swings and roundabouts, really. Yeah,
definitely, man. Now let's move on to the new track that you've released. That I got sent over recently, Dirty Dirty. You've got a track with Dirty Goods. Now, as I'm an original grime kid from when garage was just on the cusp of getting darker and deeper, and then became known as grime, he doesn't release a lot of tunes, especially like kind of nowadays, and he's a little bit incognito. Like, he's not super active. Not super active.
Dirty Goods, just to correct you, bro, this brother has been super active in the last 18 months, probably even more than that. So maybe not on the grime scene, you're right, actually, not on the grime scene, but like on the rap hip hop scene, he's been super active. Like, he's coming, like the brother's releasing a tune every week. Mad. Like a lot of stuff I've seen recently. He's had a lot of stuff out. He's had a lot of features. He's been doing a lot, to be honest. And I've known him for a while. Obviously, I first met Goods probably like mid to early 2000s, or early to mid 2000s, and he actually saw me at I think we were going to Brixton Academy. I was going to a show in Brixton, and he was driving. He was coming to the same show but parking up, and then he saw me and literally showed me so much respect and love. And from then we kind of exchanged details, kept in touch. I really rate him very highly as an MC. He's dope. He's super wicked. Like, and then we recorded a track. Actually, the first track we recorded was 5 years ago. A track called In the Streets, but we never actually released it. I never released it, shall I say? And we did that track together. And then, obviously, at around the same time, I actually recorded this Dirty Dirty track 5 years ago. And so I recorded it, obviously, just by myself. I had like 3 verses for it. And obviously I was just kind of, I didn't release any music anyway. I was just kind of, well, I did, but I didn't release that particular one because I was waiting for it to go on my an album that's coming now. But you know, 2020 came and I was like, Dirty Dirty, man, that track is like perfect. I mean, it was perfect then and it's still relevant now. So boy, I want to revamp it and bring it up to 2020. And you know, rightly so, I had to get Dirty Goods on it because I thought, yeah, he'd be perfect for it. Track called Dirty Dirty, Dirty Goods. You can't go wrong, really, can you? And I know that it was going to come with a lava anyway. So yeah, it just happened naturally. As soon as I sent him the track, within 5 to 7 days, man had sent me the verse back, mixed and everything on his verse. I was like, wow. And yeah, very quick. As soon as I heard it, I was like, wow, this is it. This is good to go. And then I went to the studio, mixed it down, and that was it. Track is a banger. Like, me and Silverstone was working on it hard in the studio, and then got my boy Junior to do the video. I wrote the whole treatment, and yeah, came up with a lot of ideas and smashed it. And I think the track, obviously, it's funny because I actually think the track is really, really well. I mean, obviously I recorded it, so I'm going to think that anyway, but not always. But I do think the track is serious. You know what I mean? Like, it's got a lot of depth to it. When you listen to the lyrics, when you listen to the music, if you really study, if you're a real student of music, then you should be like dissecting that beat and dissecting the lyrics by listening to what I'm saying and listen to what you're saying and whatever. But you know, we're in that age where people's attention span is very, 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 very short. It's like microseconds short, and it's kind of hard. But you know, every opportunity I get, I do tell people, go and listen, man. You have to listen, and you know, you hope that, you know, these DJs and bloggers and whatever aren't robots now, where you have to be told what's hot before you actually go to the record and say, you know what, let me rinse this, bro. Let me bang this. This is a serious record. But nowadays, it's almost like I have to bring it to your face and slap you in your face with it and be like, yo, listen to this, bang you in the head. You get what I'm saying? So it's a slow grind, but it's cool. It's cool. We understand the game.
I mean, that's the situation I find myself in, that I get sent so much music as well as the music that you're reaching out and buying and getting hold of yourself. But for me, I've got to shout out everyone here at Pyro. I have full creative control about guests, music, everything. And that is critical to me. Like, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm being forced or guided towards, I can't play this subgenre or style of the music that you're about because we don't want it. Then that's not the right fit. And for me, like,
no, it ain't.
It doesn't work. And then when I get the email and, you know, it says Black Twang, Dirty Goods, like, straight away, like, as a fan of music, I'm gassed. Like, I have no idea what that track is going to sound like till I press play. And what you touched on there is a sign, and also some how can I say this? It's like an explanation of why you've been in the game and been relevant and been legendary for so long, because you put the craft in it. You know, you haven't turned around and flung out some, like, I mean, you never would, but like some mad auto-tuned like tune that is just the wave right now for, say, 16-year-olds, for example. Like, that isn't you. You make music and you put the energy and the time and effort and craft into it. And people might not get that on first listen. It might take them 10, 15, 20 listens, but then, do you know what I mean? Then in 2 years' time, a few years' time, they'll listen back and, that was a banger. Yeah, it wasn't number one in the top 40 charts, but it doesn't matter. That's not the objective here. Do you know what I mean? So,
no, it ain't. No, it ain't. I mean, and the truth of the matter is, you know, it's so important to make the music that's true to you and you speak the truth, because that makes your music timeless and it resonates with people wherever they are, because they can relate to it. It's real music. It's not some, like you said, it's not some fad trend using cold words and trendy sounds. That kind of is happening now, because believe me, when that dies out, you're going to have to be trying to jump on the next wave. And man, jumping on waves, bro. We're creating the ripples, you know. So that's kind of how I feel about music, and when I'm making it and what goes into it. Like, I really don't like to throw away music, which is another reason why I don't really put out music just like that every week. Because to me, it's almost like people are addicted to attention. It's almost like if you're not getting attention, you're having withdrawal symptoms, and that's a problem for me. Yeah, it's like a drug for them. You get me? So for me, it's like, take your time, man. Take your time to build a masterpiece. Like let's say you don't build a yard in like a week, because it will come collapsing. It will come falling down after like 2 days or whatever. You take time and build. So when I'm building tracks, it's like building a house. It's like building a complex structure, and that's really what it's like. So, I take my time, and that's what it is. And I hope that people that listen to my music and listen to artists like Goods and people that I really respect, like a Kano and Get, and some of these other artists that I think really put a lot of time and effort and craft into it, and even Kendrick Lamar. Let's even call out some of the greats right now, because you can tell, like, man ain't trying to put music every 3 months, just throw away music that they could do a TikTok or whatever. Man's actually taking his time to make sure that when I do give you this stuff, it's really good, nourishing food. You know what I mean? Whether it's the music or whether it's the lyrical content or whether it's the style that man's bringing, because we're always trying to find new styles to actually express ourselves, So, yeah, man, hats off to all the real artists out there, man. Respect.
Yeah, man, it's so good to hear those words come from someone like yourself as well, because, as we said, music is so fast-paced at the moment. As a fan, as a creator, as a consumer, it's just so quick. There's always the element of just bang it out. And these kind of conversations, when people listening in who might be at the beginning of their musical career or at a difficult point where they're making records themselves about where do I go, my lane is not as popular as that new lane. Like you said, stick to your lane, do your thing, put in the energy and the extra effort. And over time, the people who matter notice these things. And that will help
100%,
the journey.
100%, and not just local, neither global. People, it will catch people's attention.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Pyro today. I think it's only right, having just spoken about the new record, that we play it right now. If you could introduce it for us, please.
Yes. This is your boy Black Twang, Tony Rotten, with a dirty banger right now. It's called Dirty, featuring Dirty Goods. Stay locked, man. Pyro, you're doing it, man. Big time.